Hello everyone. I have the feeling that I make these videos. They are more for my own use than for you, the viewers' use. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want to talk about today's lesson. I want to talk about these ideas. There are these groups of people in Western society who are very much concerned. And how do I say they are very much concerned? Because they put it out loud with other people's business. When I mean business, is private business, personal business, like sexuality, for example. Why? And I watch a couple of videos. For example, I watch videos of the so-called woke people. They are like trying to, in the US, I know of this. In Portugal, I don't know yet of examples like this, but in the US, I hear of examples of people who have, like, I don't know, dozens of pronouns. This kind of madness, right? And if you don't respect this, they can put you in trouble and try to cancel you. All this sort of, I don't know, dystopia society. That's how I see it. On the other hand, you see there are other people obsessed with the habits, for example, of people, homosexual, transsexual, whatever, people's choices in life. I think they call them the conservatives. I think it's that. And then, I mean, I can like a little bit understand both sides, how they are outraged by little things, because they convince themselves. They have this set of beliefs, right? And of course, no one likes to be offended on their set of beliefs. But I think that's kind of how democracy should work. Its beliefs can be challenged. Everyone can have your own belief, but it doesn't mean that you can impose it on other person. But it goes so far as to change the other person's habits to shape your vision of the world. And I'm just referring to private matters, of course, because policy, that's what it's all about. When a new revolution and a new system, there's a revolution, new system comes into place, people's habits will change, right? But that's as a whole, as a society, in order to achieve some objective, whatever it is, that the people in charge and the majority, whatever government there is in place, decides to do. I'm referring to people trying to shape your habits, for example, or even your rules to speak of your native tongue. I'm referring to this pronouns madness. I don't know how many are they. I don't even bother to go and look for how many are they, right? The only thing I want to express, and let it be very clear, that I respect everyone's personal choice. I couldn't give a flying fuck about anyone's sexual habits as long as they are consensual, so they are not violating anyone's space or own privacy or childhood, this kind of, for me, nasty, hideous crimes. As long as they do not configure this abnormality, I mean, you can do whatever the fuck you like. I couldn't care less. And my understanding is that this discussion between these so-called woke people and the conservatives and blah 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 gets so loud and wastes so much ink on the news, so much airwaves, so much internet bytes, terabytes, and I don't understand why. I don't get it. I don't get it. What's the objective? I know there are accusations, okay? I've sort of know from afar a little bit the narratives, right? One think that they have to express themselves and others have to respect them for that, and therefore they have to adopt new language, for example. And the others are saying that, accuse the others of indoctrinating everyone into be gay or something like this. The destruction of, they incentivize the destruction of the family by letting people go the way they choose. Of course, if you follow the discourse of both groups, they then get in contradiction with themselves, but that's another matter, right? I just don't understand why sometimes this is in the center, for example, of the political discourse. Why? They accuse Russia, for example, of persecuting gay people, which couldn't be more wrong. Oh, but they passed the law forbidding these LGBT organizations. Yeah. I know that. They passed this law. But you have to know what these organizations were, right? And what they were trying to do and who was financing them. Right? That's another a whole different subject. But if you go to Russia, you can see for yourself. Well, I cannot judge, I cannot say someone is gay just by their appearance, but sometimes you are right about that, right? They have certain ways, dress certain way, move certain way. But like I said, it doesn't bother me. And they are free there. And the government, Vladimir Putin said himself, what goes within your home, within closed doors, within your intimacy space, it's none of states. It's no business for the state. So why is this shit such a big business? And I mean the question. I'm not going to answer it. I just would like to know why this discussion is so live. Because my point of view is that I would like to see lively discussions about, for example, balancing the budget in favor of household families in order for them to provide for the family, for the kids. I would like discussions about the curriculums in education but orientated not by beliefs, but by the scientific method. Let science decide education. And I'm not just saying that everyone should. Don't confuse the word science with certain areas of study like mathematics and physics and like this against social science. No, science in the way that psychology studies people, studies behavior, studies ways of learning. So let science find out and experiment and then apply the best way for people to learn more effectively. For example, I would like to have lively discussions about this. The best way to educate. The best way where pupils get so addicted to education, to their own education, that they are like 500% more to be successful, meaning to learn effectively and to acquire competence. This is what I would like the energy of lively discussions to go to. For example, among other things, of course, to discuss the actual problems of society. Of course, if you have like problems like crime. You have to address crime, but not address it like a monkey. Forgive me, I don't want to offend the monkeys. I think monkeys can be much more reasonable than humans in many times, maybe most of times, sometimes at least. But because crime, there's only one way: force. No, of course you can use force to control emergencies. That is, it has to be in some cases. It's like this heavy medication that it harms you, but you have to take it, otherwise you're going to be worse, right? So it's only in specific cases. But you have to study. You cannot leave behind the will to study, for example, the root causes of every problem you have, not just violence. I gave violence and criminality as an example. Every cause, every problem, you must always try to go to the root. And these examples: culture, education, health, cohesion as a community, healthy relationships in the community. These should be the priorities of the public discussion. Why in the economy, for example, everything is going to shit? You have production of billionaires, and you have production en masse, massive production of poor people. Like I've mentioned several times, inequality is, like, for me, cancer of society, because it also breeds other sorts of problems. Neoliberalism likes that, because every problem that appears new in society, which is many times caused by its own way of governing, it creates another business, it creates more GDP. If your car wrecks all the time, more GDP. If you are sick all the time, more GDP. If you are addicted to something, more GDP. If you are addicted to consumption, more GDP. So that's how neoliberalism sees society. So they actually don't mind to brew all sorts of mental problems are a huge source of GDP. Well, I don't know if it's huge, but it's big. It's pharmaceutical sales. So yeah, again, the question, please, if you know the answer me in the comments. Why this gender or obsession with other people's habits, sexualities and stuff get people so much up on their nerves and are stage for such lively debates? Don't you think we are wasting a little bit too much energy on what's maybe, I don't know, not essential? I do think that. That's my thought. Those are my thoughts for today. Yeah, just a little bit. Ukrainians continue to try desperately to parry Russia's attacks, but for what I've seen in the latest reports, Russians keep growing in intensity and in numbers and in tactics and in quality. And again, I do not see any lack of ammunition. I see videos of Russian attacks. They're always met with artillery, plenty of artillery. Yeah, that's it. That's completely off the previous topic, but just mentioning it. I see you on the next one. I never know. I'm making these videos very often now, like when I go to work and when I come from work. So when I'm not working, expect production to fall. But I make other things. I do interviews, and I consider a little bit more quality things, videos, interviews, both in Portuguese and in English. I do this talk show, Idea Tank, and yeah. But while I'm working, I really don't have time for bigger productions. So I resort to this. That's the main reason. Thank you. See you on the next one.